Chapter 3. Robinson builds a boat. During Robinson's first months on the island, heavy rain fell relentlessly, sometimes for weeks, without a single dry day. Unlike England's four seasons, the island had only wet and dry periods, with no winter or cold weather. Just before the rains began, Robinson had unknowingly scattered scraps from rice and grain bags near his tent. To his surprise, barley and rice began growing in the shade of the rock. He saved the ripe ears for future planting, and over time, his small harvest turned into a substantial supply of grain. However, growing crops required back-breaking work since he had no proper tools, only a crude spade carved from heavy island wood. Grinding the grain was another challenge. Lacking suitable stones, Robinson eventually fashioned a wooden mill by burning a hollow into a block of hard wood and pounding the grain into meal with a stick. To bake bread, he would heat a fire, rake away the ashes, and cook the dough under a clay basin covered with hot embers. One day, as he worked in his cave after finishing the fence around his tent, the ground suddenly trembled. The cave's roof began to crack and collapse, forcing him to flee in terror. Outside, the ground continued shaking violently. An earthquake. A massive rock fell with a deafening crash. The sea churned, and Robinson, sick and trembling with fear, expected to be swallowed by the earth. Soon after, a fierce hurricane uprooted trees and sent branches and birds flying. When the storm ended, torrential rain soaked Robinson, forcing him to take shelter in his cave. The earthquake led him to reconsider his living arrangements. He decided to search for a better site for his tent. However, the quake also brought an unexpected benefit. Parts of the wrecked ship washed ashore, and Robinson salvaged useful items. On one trip, he discovered a large turtle, which provided meat and eggs, a rare treat. Not long after, Robinson fell ill with fever and chills, likely from his exposure to the rain. He suffered through days of weakness and terrible dreams, believing he might die alone. In desperation, he drank rum infused with tobacco. Though it made him sick, it also caused him to sleep deeply and eventually recover. From then on, he avoided venturing out during the rainy season. When his health returned, Robinson explored the island further, discovering useful plants like tobacco, sugarcane, and grapes. He dried the grapes into raisins and built a second hut near the fruit trees, surrounding it with a double fence of stakes. Over time, the stakes sprouted into a dense, concealing hedge. He repeated this process around his original dwelling, making it hidden and secure. While exploring the far side of the island, Robinson spotted distant land across the water. This reignited his desire to escape. He attempted to repair a boat from the wreck, but found it impossible to move. Determined, he decided to build his own boat, inspired by stories of Native Americans crafting canoes from tree trunks. After selecting a massive tree near the shore, Robinson spent weeks cutting it down and months carving it into a boat large enough to carry 20 men. However, moving it proved impossible. Despite his efforts to dig a canal to the sea, the task was too great to complete alone. Heartbroken, he abandoned the project and left the boat to decay, his dream of escape dashed for now.